Hello there. Welcome to Coffee with Linda. I'm Linda, and I have a very, very special guest today. His name is Henry the Tulip Bulb. Henry is my little character in my children's books, and I thought I would tell you a little bit about Henry today because Henry, along with coffee, is all about an attitude of gratitude. And that's just much more than a slogan. That is about being compassionate, about caring, about your community, about your family, about yourself even. Interesting thing when you get on a plane and they give you all of the little safety things you need to know. If the masks come down, you must put it on yourself first and then help others. That tells me that was a good clue that we need to take care of ourselves, and then we're able to help each other. So Henry's all about that. He helps children, grandchildren, and adults how to be thankful for food, shelter, clothing, health. Good health is something very, very good to be thankful for. And Henry is all about that attitude of gratitude. I've got 4 books out now. The 5th one is written, and I will be doing all the illustrations as well. But how Henry was actually conceived was, I was working at a TV station in Lima, Ohio. It was 1983. And one of the producers came to me and said, "Linda, do you think you could write something for a children's program?" And I said, "Oh, maybe." And I was planting tulips around the base of my trees, around my home. And I started to think about what a little tulip bulb goes through to become a flower. And Henry was born. It's a really interesting story how he got his name. I didn't even know why until almost 40 years later. But maybe not 40, closer to 30. Anyway, Henry has always had a plan for his life. And it's so cool how all of the details come unraveled to me and to my followers, the people that love Henry too. We've got a little Henry's fan page on Facebook. And it's amazing how he is making a difference in people's lives. The last book that was just published and released is actually To the Moon, Henry. And Henry goes to the moon with his best friend, Bob. And it's a very, very interesting journey. And then they come back home to Wapakoneta, Ohio. And if you know anything about Wapakoneta, you know that it's the home of Neil Armstrong. And that was my birthplace too, as well as Henry's. So it was only natural that Henry and Bob would go to the moon. Well, my publisher doesn't think it's natural, but anyway, it was fun. The first book is Henry's Life as a Tulip Bulb, and that tells you a little bit about how he was in a cellophane bag in the Harper's grocery store shelf. And he was feeling very comfortable. But what Henry didn't realize was that all of his potential was packed up in that little cellophane bag. And sometimes we have to get not in a good space to realize that there's much more to our lives than what we originally thought. And so I'll be reading these, and we'll be sharing some of Henry's books. They're all available on Amazon. The G&G Gallery and the Pennapeck House here in St. Augustine also carry them. But there's 4 of them right now. Soon to be 9 altogether. And soon to be doing a little bit of filming. And so we're going to be sharing things with you. The second book is Henry's almost trip to Paris. And it's a true story. It involves my friends, the Boas sisters. And Henry actually got left behind in a taxi. They promised to take him to Paris. They were going to take him to Egypt, get him photographed. And they were in such a hurry to get to their boat. And going through New York City in a taxi that they left Henry behind. And so you're going to love that story too, because Henry figures out a lot of things during that book. The third book is Henry Gets Back to His Roots, and that's in St. Augustine, Florida. A great place, a great community. And that's where he lives now. And that's where my studio is now. And so we're bringing this to you from St. Augustine right now. So that's got a lot of history. As you know, St. Augustine is the oldest city in America. And there's a lot of artisans here, craftspeople, musicians. And there's a lot of rich history that I think you would really enjoy, and it's a good book for your children and grandchildren. So we've got 4 books. We've got the first one, Henry's Life as a Tulip Bulb. The second one actually is Henry Gets Back to His Roots in St. Augustine. The third one is Henry's Almost Trip to Paris. And the fourth one, To the Moon, Henry. I'll give you a little sneak preview. The fifth one, I can tell you the title is Henry Asks the Big Question. What is love? In all the books, you'll find very endearing with Henry. And as you read them to your children and grandchildren, it would be amazing to see how Henry makes a difference in their lives. I know I've gotten letters from parents who have the child in the womb yet, and they're actually reading these books to that child so that they, even in the womb, start to develop an attitude of gratitude, an air of thankfulness, an air of community, and being grateful for all things, for, like we said, shelter, food, clothing, good health. And it's amazing what they have found medically for people who live with that kind of thankfulness. They generally live 7 years longer than the average person. And they live much healthier and much happier. And I know that truly because I've had many devastations in my life. And I actually even died in an MRI tunnel and flatlined for 7 minutes. I've lost a lot of people that I love, including a son and a stepson. And I know what it is to pull yourself out of the darkness and into the light and begin to look around and see something to be thankful for and changing my attitude. I know what it's done for me, and I know what it can do for you. So hope you join us for our journey with Henry the Tulip Bulb. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. Love you to the moon and back. Cheers and bon appetit.